Welcome to the deep dive. We plunge into the past, looking for those stories that, well, often get swept under the rug of grand history.
That's right.
And today we're stepping right into one. Picture it. 1550, a village in Bulgaria, misty morning.
Okay.
You're maybe 12 years old. There are sheep bells, warm bread, a seemingly perfect day
It sounds peaceful.
until you hear it. Hooves. Something, it shatters.
Oh, no.
Ottoman officials arrive. Silk robes, very imposing, but
Yeah.
their eyes are cold, calculating.
And looking around.
Exactly. And then one points directly at you. Your mother starts pleading, but they don't understand her, they don't care. Your father just stands there, silent.
Powerless.
Completely. And you're pulled away. They promise greatness, serving the Sultan himself. But all you hear fading away is your mother sobbing.
And you never see her again.
Never again. This was the start, the brutal reality, for thousands of boys under the Devshirme system.
The beginning of life as a ghoul. A palace boy. And maybe we should quickly clarify ghoul here. It's not the supernatural creature.
Right, good point. It means a young palace servant, a page, often taken as a slave, basically integrated into the Sultan's world.
Exactly. And today, we're digging into the Enderun School inside Topkapi Palace. It's often praised, for its amazing education.
But the reality, as our sources show, was, well, it was also a place of systematic abuse, profound trauma.
And that's really our mission for this deep dive, isn't it? To look past that shiny image of imperial power.
Yeah, to see the human cost.
The dehumanization, the normalization of exploiting children, really. We want to unpack this forgotten history for you to understand what was really going on behind those palace walls.
Okay, so let's start with that journey. Being taken wasn't the end of the ordeal, it was just the beginning. That march to Istanbul.
Oh, it was horrific. Weeks long, across difficult terrain, dozens of boys.
And the conditions?
Terrible. Not enough food, sleeping rough. The sources are pretty clear. The weak ones were left behind to die.
Just left behind.
Yeah. It was their first lesson. A brutal one in what palace life demanded. Weakness wasn't tolerated.
It sounds like it was designed to break them from the very start.
Absolutely. It was about establishing total control immediately. There's this story about Nikos, a 14-year-old Greek boy.
What happened?
He tried to escape. On the third night, they caught him, dragged him back, beat him savagely, right in front of everyone. The screams were meant as a lesson.
Yeah.
Don't even think about it.
God, that's grim. So by the time they even got near Istanbul...
They were already changing, learning to be invincible, silent unless spoken to, fearful, moving like ghosts, as one source puts it.
So it wasn't just a physical trek, it was psychological conditioning.
Definitely, breaking them down before they even saw the palace.
And then they see Istanbul, the minarets, Hagia Sophia, the huge palace complex. It must have looked incredible.
You'd think so. Awe-inspiring, right?
But for these boys...
For most of them, it wasn't awe. It was dread. A hollow feeling. Because it wasn't a beautiful city welcoming them. It was a magnificent prison. Every grand building just highlighted what they'd lost and what they feared they were becoming.
A symbol of their captivity.
Exactly. A gilded cage, maybe, but a cage nonetheless.
So they arrive, and then comes the selection process. You described it as humiliating and thorough.
It really was. Officials examining teeth.
Like a horse, the source said.
Just like that. Testing reflexes, asking basic questions about letters, numbers, measuring them, checking skin, looking at their faces.
With this chilling detachment.
Yeah, clinical detachment. Less like assessing potential and more like inspecting property.
And this coldness, this clinical approach, it was just the beginning, wasn't it?
A prelude, really, to a deeper dehumanization. And this is where the Enderun School paradox really kicks in.
The paradox being?
Well, the most beautiful and intelligent were picked for this school. Inside Topkapi Palace itself, and history often calls it, the world's first institutionalized education for the gifted. Sounds amazing.
It does sound progressive almost.
But our sources rip that veil away pretty quickly. They say the officials' smiles weren't kind. They were the smiles of predators finding particularly promising prey.
Predators. That's a strong word, but it fits what came next. Because the education itself was impressive, right? Languages, maths, astronomy.
Oh, the curriculum was top-notch.
Yeah.
Arabic, Persian, Turkish, literature, law, music, calligraphy, crafts. Very comprehensive.
But it came at a cost, a price far beyond mere academic rigors, as the source puts it.
Exactly. This wasn't just about learning skills. It was about something much darker.
How did that advanced education become part of their subjugation?
Well, it made them more valuable, but not in a way that empowered them.
How so?
The better a boy was at languages or music or whatever, the more useful he was to a powerful patron, a high-ranking eunuch, an official, maybe even the sultan.
Ah, so it created dependency.
A deep, inescapable web of dependency. Instead of liberation through education, it actually tied them tighter into the system of exploitation.
And life inside the palace, those marble corridors. It sounds both grand and terrifying.
Like a maze where danger could be around any corner. The dorms felt like marble tombs, even with silk beds that were like chains.
And the sounds. Muffled crying, whispers, footsteps. Constant reminders.
Constant reminders of being trapped, and then the immediate confiscation of anything personal, like a small wooden cross someone mentioned.
Taking away their last link to home?
Deliberate,
Yeah.
symbolic, severing that connection to their past, to their identity.
And forcing them to take new names, convert to Islam.
Mehmet, for example, presented as this grand choice, this opportunity.
But it wasn't a choice.
No, the sources are clear. Choice had nothing to do with it. They just repeated the words. Inside, many were still clinging desperately to who they were.
Which brings us to the really insidious part of this education, breaking their will.
Systematically, reconstructing them as instruments, not just for imperial power, but imperial pleasure too.
And advancement wasn't just about grades.
Not at all. It was about your ability to please superiors.
And pleasing took forms. Well, forms no child should ever have to learn.
This is where it gets truly disturbing. The system's depravity really showed itself here.
Give us an example. How did this actually play out?
Okay, so the sources mention Amit, an older student who had been there 3 years.
Right.
He approaches a new boy, offers help, protection, advice on getting ahead. Seems friendly, maybe, but then comes the ask for gratitude, expressed in special ways that stay between us.
Chilling. For a 12-year-old.
It's an impossible situation. Refuse. You face beatings, isolation, your life becomes hell. Except you surrender your innocence.
There's no winning, just survival.
Degrees of survival, exactly. And this wasn't just isolated incidents, right? This was systemic.
Yeah, the sources talk about a complex and predatory sexual ecosystem. How did that even work? How did it become part of the social order?
It was deeply hierarchical. You had eunuchs, often victims themselves originally.
Right, castrated as boys.
They often became enforcers, exploiting the newer arrivals. Then older students who'd been through it preyed on the younger ones.
Perpetuating the cycle.
Across generations. And then the palace officials at the top, they acted with impunity. The victims had no one to turn to.
And incredibly, this wasn't hidden. It wasn't a scandal they tried to cover up.
No, the sources are explicit. It was part of the social order, woven into daily life.
So your path, your career, could depend on this.
Absolutely. Boys who complied, let's say, with powerful patrons often saw their careers fast-tracked. Better treatment, easier studies, better positions later on.
And those who refuse.
They were relegated,
Yeah.
punished, or sometimes they just vanished from the records, like they never existed.
So compliance, however awful, was often the only way to survive, maybe even thrive in that twisted system.
It often seemed that way, yes.
The psychological toll must have been immense. Cut off, stripped of identity, your body treated like a thing.
It's what we now call complex trauma. Carefully inflicted, you could argue. It damages your sense of self, trust, everything.
And you see different ways boys tried to cope, different survival strategies.
Definitely. Take Dmitri, for instance. He learned the game, how to flirt, manipulate.
What did he gain?
Better clothes, better food, a private tutor even. But the source says his eyes had gone dead. He stopped talking about home.
And he started looking at new boys.
With that same calculating gaze the officials had used on him, he'd become part of the machinery.
Horrifying. Then there's the opposite, like Stephanos.
The Greek fisherman's son. He refused everything, endured the beatings.
What happened to him?
He just faded, became ghost-like, did his duties, but without life. Then one morning, his bed was empty. Gone. No explanation.
Just disappeared. It's unbearable. Did anyone get through it intact? Psychologically?
It seems unlikely. The system was designed against it, finding a middle path, trying to compromise just enough to survive while holding on to yourself.
Impossible.
The system made it impossible. It constantly forced choices between degradation and destruction. Submit totally or be broken. Or perhaps worse, become part of the breaking.
We also have these glimpses from outside, from European travelers, limited, maybe filtered, but still.
Yes, like a 16th century Venetian ambassador. He noted the excessive fondness officials had for their young male servants.
Describing boys 10 or 11 years old.
dressed in silk and jewels, attending older men with a familiarity that hinted at more than just service.
And a French diplomat later on.
In the 17th century, yeah. He wrote about young pages moving through the halls like beautiful birds in cages and noted their fear when their masters were near.
Even through careful diplomatic language, they saw something was wrong.
Exactly. They couldn't, or maybe wouldn't, spell out the abuse, but they observed a culture where these boys were clearly commodities, their youth and beauty used for status and pleasure. It confirms the systemic nature of it all.
And the physical conditions didn't help. Cramped dorms, no privacy, constant watching.
A rigid schedule, relentless pressure, and the punishments were harsh.
Common and creatively designed to humiliate, one source said.
Right. Like Milos, the boy caught praying in his old way.
What did they do to him?
Forced him to stand naked in a courtyard all day. Encouraged others to mock him.
A public lesson.
A brutal public lesson. Your old identity is forbidden, shameful, purge it, become what we demand. It was psychological torture as much as physical.
You also mentioned an internal economy within the palace. How did that add to the exploitation?
It created another layer of control. Small things, slightly better food, nicer clothes, maybe access to a book, a moment of quiet. They became valuable commodities.
Currency, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So boys were constantly calculating how to use their skills, their obedience, or other things to gain these tiny advantages. It made resistance even harder because basic comforts were tied to compliance.
A very subtle, very effective control mechanism.
Incredibly powerful.
Given all this, escape must have seemed like the only hope for some. Was it even feasible?
Almost impossible.
Yeah.
Think about the location Topkapi is on a peninsula, heavily guarded, water on 3 sides.
A fortress.
Literally. There's that story of the boy who tried to swim the Golden Horn.
Did he make it?
No. Dragged back, barely alive. Publicly beaten so badly he was permanently injured. A living warning.
And even if someone miraculously got away?
What then? Their identity was erased. Their family might reject them or not even recognize them. They had no skills for the outside world. Often recaptured or just lost. Adrift.
Lost between two worlds.
Which brings us back to that awful cycle of power. As boys got older,
They faced that stark choice again. Keep resisting and likely be destroyed, or embrace the system, become an enforcer yourself.
and the most chilling part is realizing their teachers, their supervisors.
Were once boys just like them, victims who became perpetrators.
Why would they do that?
It's complex. Survival, maybe?
Yeah.
A twisted way to regain some sense of power after being powerless for so long. A desperate need to stop being the victim, so they became the predator instead.
Ensuring the cycle continued.
Precisely. Feeding the very system that broke them.
And this culminates in the chikma, the graduation.
Yes, they emerged highly skilled, fluent, capable administrators or soldiers, ready for imperial service.
But inwardly, souls systematically corrupted, as one source puts it. Their understanding of power is inseparable from exploitation. Their ability to form healthy relationships likely shattered.
So graduation wasn't freedom, it was just transitioning to a different role within the same exploitative structure.
Often, yes. Moving from being primarily a victim to being a participant, an instrument of the empire's will. Their transformation was complete. Their old self gone, replaced by their imperial function.
How did the Ottoman state square this? Officially, I mean. A sophisticated empire relying on this.
It's that classic imperial hypocrisy, isn't it? Officially, there were rules against abuse. Unofficially, everyone looked the other way.
Why?
Because the system worked, from their perspective. It produced loyal, skilled elites who were bound to the Sultan, the human cost, irrelevant to the state's goals.
So they had a narrative to justify it.
Oh yes, court historians praised it, like that 16th century writer calling it a crucible of discipline and learning, making the finest servants, pure ideology masking the brutal reality.
A reality of abuse and destroyed identities.
It allowed the empire to project this image of meritocracy and order while benefiting from profound cruelty.
So it wasn't just some dark secret few knew about.
No, that's the key point. Compared to similar practices elsewhere, the Ottoman system was unique in its scale, its systematization, and its integration into the imperial apparatus.
It was an institution. Celebrated even.
Celebrated for its effectiveness, yes. The public saw the success stories, the efficient administrators. They didn't see, or chose not to see, the price paid by the boys.
The system did eventually fade, 17th, 18th centuries.
But far too late for countless boys who went through it. The scars remained. Whether they rose high in the ranks or vanished without a trace, lost childhoods, broken spirits.
Which brings us back to today. Topkapi Palace is a museum now. Millions visit.
They see the stunning architecture, the jewels, the art. They hear tours talk about educational innovations, imperial glory.
But those marble corridors.
They keep their secrets. They don't speak about the true price paid by generations of boys for that glory.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? What does it mean to acknowledge that grandeur, that empire, was built on so much suffering?
And these aren't just footnotes in a history book. These are stories of children's resilience against institutional cruelty, stories of identities stolen, humanity denied. It forces us to look deeper than the surface glitter of history.
And in remembering these stories, the ones history tried to forget, the ones normalized at the time, you, listening, you bear witness now. It makes you wonder what other stories of power, progress, and their hidden human costs are right in front of us today, still demanding our attention, our compassion. How do we make sure these lessons, paid for by the voiceless, are actually learned?
That's the question to carry with you.
Something to think about until our next deep dive.